Hey everybody, this is Lucas with Texas Piano Restoration, and today we're going to talk about the 3 different measurements that you need to take when replacing hammers in an upright piano. Let's get into it. All right, the first measurement that you're going to need to take is the bore length of the hammer. So that is this distance from the center of the hammer shank, where it goes into the hammer, to the tip of the hammer. This is your bore length distance right here. So I'm gonna make a line on the hammer molding and measure to the tip of the hammer. And when you're replacing hammers on a piano, you're going to often find that the hammers might be a little bit shorter because they've been worn down with age and with use over the years. You can often see a groove on the hammer, a string groove, and you might also notice that maybe the hammer has been filed at some point. So it's a good idea to keep that in mind when you are measuring this bore distance. If the hammer looks like it's been filed or it looks like it's been worn down significantly, so if it's flat at the strike point, you may want to add 1 millimeter or 2 to this distance here. So this is my hammer number 1, the first hammer on this upright piano, and this hammer has a bore distance of 57 millimeters. I'm going to take a note of that and we'll get started with the next measurement. All right, the next measurement is going to be the rake angle. And now the rake angle is this angle right here. If you imagine you've got a little, let's say we have a little triangle here. If you can imagine that. What we're talking about is this angle here. That's called the rake angle. And it's typically on a grand piano, it's usually 90 degrees, maybe 89 degrees. Most of the time this is 90 degrees. So you've got the shank, and then you've got the hammer. Most of the time you want to see a 90-degree angle here, but not always. And on upright pianos, sometimes, often that rake angle will be more significant. So on this piano, I measured the rake angle at about 84 degrees. And one way to do that is to use this little tool right here. This is a really neat tool here from Renner, USA. You can get these at the on the Renner USA website. And this is designed for measuring exactly what we're talking about here. So the way this works is you take your hammer and line it up here, line the shank up here along this edge so that you get a nice 90 degree. And then you've got a dial here, and you can see that little 0 mark. And then the angle gauge rotates. So when you've got 90 degrees on that mark, that would be a 90-degree rake. But you can see on this hammer, it may be hard to see in the video, but on this hammer, I'm gonna move this until I get that line here to line up with the point of that hammer molding, just like that. And that will give you your rake angle. There we go. And in this case, it came out to 84 degrees on this upright piano. All right, so for this next measurement, what we're gonna be looking for is the boring angle. So if you notice here, on an upright piano and on all pianos, especially in the bass, the hammers are drilled or bored at an angle relative to the hammer shank. So that's what we're looking for. That's called a boring angle. And what we're gonna do to find that is use an angle finder. Here I have an angle finder from Husky. And the way this works is you just turn it on. I'm gonna flatten it out here. And I'm gonna zero. There's a button to zero it out. So that puts it at 0. And then if you go all the way up here, that's gonna be somewhere around 90. Okay, and then what you wanna do with an upright piano is take this flange here, and we're gonna set this on the bench and put your hand on it so that we make sure it's flat. Now you can also use like a machinist's square on the table to look at your hammer shank, and make sure the hammer shank is relatively close to 90 degrees. Okay, and then we're going to take our angle finder and we're going to match it up to the hammer molding on this hammer here, like that. And in this case, the bass hammers are leaning to the left, so the tool has to be backwards, but we're gonna find the angle, and then you can flip it around and read it. And in this case, it came to about 66 degrees. 66 or 67. And so we're gonna notate that here on our spec sheet right here. And I'm gonna do that for 6 hammers in this piano, 1 for each section on the action. So here you can see I've done three sample hammers here. And again, just to review, I have the bore length, the rake angle, and the boring angle for each one of those sample hammers. All right, well, I hope that was helpful in getting you started on boring your own hammers for an upright piano. And those are the measurements you're gonna need. And in subsequent videos, we will talk about actually doing the drilling and boring of the hammers using other jigs, but we will be using those measurements that we took today in order to do that. All right, thanks for watching.